All right, GM. Well, sorry about the 1 second. My bad on that. All right, we're good. Welcome to the 112th consecutive episode of Wonky Weekly Alpha. If you guys want to join me on stage, feel free to hit that request button. Doesn't matter what the market's doing. Keep doing this regardless. The vibes stay up, even if the price goes down. It's one of those things that we've talked about for the past few weeks, just kind of expecting a lot of volatility surrounding the halving and everything that's coming up with it. So 1 second, got a couple people requesting. All right, Mr. Crow, welcome up, my man. What's going on?
Yo. You got your phone all situated?
Bro, I hope so.
Charging, the freezer, the battery.
So I really hope so. The battery is fully charged ahead of time on this one. And on top of that, I also updated the app. So we'll see. I'm hoping that updating the app will make the space run more efficiently so that the old brick that I run from the LedgArt spaces should be able to handle it. So,
all right, very good. How about your posture? How's your posture today?
Posture's great, man. No, dude, I kid you not. One other thing that I think has been a huge benefit of just like the past year plus of really being consistent, getting back into the gym, is just a lot of your core strength that affects small things that you don't really realize whenever you're not being active for a long time, like your posture, just naturally improves, right? So I don't know, man. I'm excited to see you next week because I haven't seen you since I was fat in Austin.
Yeah, I've been working out so I could back up all the shit I've been talking.
We'll see, man. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to it, dude. It's been a minute, and heck, since the last time I saw you guys, though, I have dropped, let's see, at least like 15 pounds. So,
all right, we're gonna be at the beach too, so you can't hide behind no baggy shirts or nothing.
I know. I mean, hey, I still might be thick, but I'm not as thick as I was. Rooster's seen me in between the two. Like Rooster can attest. I'm not as chunky as I was back then. I'm not saying that like I am the pristine figure of Crow. Like we all know that you're just on a different level, but doing my best. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. How are things up in the Northeast?
I mean, spring is sprung, right? We got green on the trees. We got flowers. The bees are out again. It's been great, man. Spring always brings me to life. I don't know about you all, but winter time's a little tough. As soon as the spring hits, days are longer. I kick into gear. It happens every year.
Same, my man. I think spring and fall are my two favorite seasons by far. Like I love the change. I love the weather that comes along with them. I feel like there's, as far as just things to do, like it is the prime season for both of them. So yeah, this is my element right now. I feel you. Shoot, I think we're having issues with Rooster. We had him up here and he dropped off. But yeah, man. So what else? What else you got coming up before before next week?
I just got a week full of work. We have a friend's birthday party tomorrow. I'm pretty much ready. I bought my ticket last night. I'm ready to go. I'm really excited as well. It's always every time I've ever gotten up with everybody, it's always been an absolute blast. So
I love that, man. Yeah, I'm like this will be my first time where it's because when I saw you guys at South by, it wasn't like I feel like the same type of experience as what this will be, right? I had multiple other things going on with the family that week, so I was able to chill with y'all some, but not quite as much as I wanted to. So I'm really hyped about just having a full weekend where it's just y'all and the Stonk family, man. I think it's going to be a good time. Rooster, can you hear us now?
Yes, yeah, I can. I lost you there for a minute briefly, so I had to jump down, jump back up. What's popping, everybody?
All good, man. Good to have you up here, as always. So what's going on in your world? How are you surviving this little dip across the market right now?
Same strategy. Just sit on my hands. I do have a little bit of, liquidity in Solana, so maybe buy some meme coin dips, but I haven't, high conviction ones. Haven't decided on that. Actually, just got, uh, second merch order in from Pandas. Fucking pants, they sent me a 2XL instead of a fucking medium. So, yeah. And, I'm not 400 pounds, so I can pretty much fit in one pant leg of these at the moment.
Dude, that's a perfect sleep shirt for the girlfriend, right?
Well, they're pants, but,
Oh, pants. Okay. R.I.P.
yeah. So they'll probably get that sorted. But yeah, I don't know if you've seen or followed along, but Ice Bags has been pretty much trolling everybody the past week, pretending like he's going to launch a meme coin, which I figured he would not. Um, and it is just pretty much a big marketing tactic to get eyes on TKO. And it just pretty much called everybody retarded to actually think he'd be dropping a meme coin. But everybody who joined the Telegram could fill out a form for an airdrop allo.
Oh, that's badass, man. I mean, I saw a little bit of him posting about it, and I honestly assumed that he was going to be doing something exactly like what you're saying without actually being in the trenches, where it wouldn't be a full meme coin, where it would be something that would have some type of utility within the ecosystem. I also didn't know if somehow it was something that was going to be just like another RST integration. That was my other theory of what he was potentially doing. But yeah, one way or the other, man, um, bullish on whatever he does with that, because I think that there's a really natural fit whenever you talk about just like the overall demographic of panda holders for that type of token.
Yeah, I kind of rushed to get all my pandas off loans. Like, luckily, I cleared out like 5, 6 Ethan loans on Blur yesterday, which was about time to anyway because I was way too early on trying to catch the rotation on leverage. Wasn't really panning out that well. So I ended up scrambling, took a small loss on a couple pandas to get some others off leverage. And then while I was doing that, this Grail got listed on the floor. And then, so in the midst of me trying, paying off my pandas, I went to go buy that one. But the first transaction didn't prompt, and then Blur reselected the first listed panda 2 pandas over. Then I accidentally bought the wrong one, and 20 seconds later, someone bought the one that I meant to snipe. So yeah, it was a rough 24 hours in Panda Land for me, but I saved them all off Blur, so I won't be missing any allocations. I have no outstanding loans in the cryptoverse right now, so it's kind of nice.
I love that, man. I mean, dude, it's just, it's one of those times where I feel like right now the weeks surrounding the just the weeks surrounding the halving, you're going to have a lot of volatility across the market, one way or the other, right? Like, we're going to have big swings down, big swings back up. Like, it's just one of those things where I think that the safest thing that you can really do at this point is practically sit on your hands. Right? Like, be prepared to sit on your hands through whatever happens over the next few weeks. Honestly, like, even the next couple months, right? There are going to be a lot of opportunities that spring up if there is some type of sell off, right? And it's going to be one of those things where I think that we are going to see, again, like, looking at the rotational play, the market right now is developed enough where there are going to be ecosystems and different market sectors that are still bullish, even if the broader market as a whole isn't pumping ferociously, right? So, like historically, again, just looking at the halving, this, like, it is not just a guaranteed giga bull send immediately. It usually takes several months to kind of sit there, you know, let the market really mature and adjust to the new emissions schedule. And eventually, like the supply demand ratio catches up with itself and you end up seeing just descend across the market. But like, I think it's one of those things just kind of have to be patient for and trust the process, right? Like if you've been around before, it's one of those things where these types of dips don't scare you. Like, it's, but it is easy to let the PTSD of, the bear market recently, for a lot of people that haven't been through multiple of these, to be like, man, is it actually over? And I just don't think that it is, right? Again, historically looking at it, I think we are still incredibly early in this cycle.
Speaking about PTSD, let's also refrain from using the words rush during the spaces because that is a new trigger word.
Whoa, wait, what happened with Rush?
Just fucking Trader Joe, AVAX, meme coin, rush, fucking bullshit, chopping my stack, goddamn 80% to the ground, fuckers.
RIP, man. I mean, dude, I like, in retrospect, looking at it, I should have assumed, at least from the market timing, based on what happened with hyperspace, with the NFT marketplace, when they really introduced a lot of those incentivized rewards for it, that it would be a similar playbook as far as just like the overall, and like it was. But the one encouraging thing is it's like one of those things where it's the entire market that is right now suffering like that, right? Like it's not just an isolated thing. So, I still think like high conviction plays, they're going to end up panning out, right? Like, if you think that this is the top for the entire market and that it's not bouncing back, I mean, yeah, like, you know, your shit's gonna fall further. Right? Like, but if the market does continue to climb the way that I think that it will over the course of the next couple of years, realistically, like a lot of this stuff is just noise in the big picture.
Yeah, dude, I'm just super glad that I was able to mitigate some losses with the one AVAX reward um, that I got from staking. I think 15,000 at the time, which is now worth like what 7, 6. I don't even know. I don't look like Puck. I don't ever look at the node chart
Well,
actually. I don't need to with Puck's updates and the fucking sit it out every 10 minutes.
bro, here's the deal. I staked like I think 500,000. I like maybe more than that actually, maybe 600,000, and I think that I got a solid $2,000. So, it's similar type thing, right? But like the way I looked at it was that was all a bag that I wasn't going to sell either way, right? Like, so I got paid something, which is better than nothing, for something that I wasn't going to move one way or the other, right? And that was the way that I looked at it going into it. Like, I assumed whether it was going to go up or down one way or the other. Like, I didn't buy that bag for the fact that, oh my gosh, there's going to be some type of staking rewards with this, right? And I didn't stake it and keep it because of that. I was like, man, there's going to be some type of staking rewards with a bag that I'm going to hold one way or the other. So, like, I'll take whatever free money you want to give me for just doing what I was going to do.
Yeah, during the time I had a couple people DM me and they were like, "Yo, what do you think about the meme coin rush and the no chill staking thing?" And I was like, honestly, it's probably a nothing burger. In fact, more times like staking is more of a toppy signal than anything. And I didn't end up taking any profits at all. I'm still holding my bag. And then someone else goes who has been a consistent top indicator recently the past couple months. He bought some no chill at the top. Didn't take that signal too. It's a season where like I've simply just ignored all top signals. at least locally.
Bro, you know what the top signal was that you said best recently? Like, you absolutely nailed this a couple spaces ago. Machi, right? Machi Big Brother raising 30 something million dollars for a meme coin, which did he even ever launch it?
Yeah, he launched it. Um, I think he raised more, but he put like 8 million in liquidity and then 30 million. He didn't even use this to sweep apes, which is turbo bearish. He just locked it up to farm blast. I think he's farming blast with the other 30 million. Um,
And
and then
is he banking, like, did he just keep it himself? Or did he say that there's some type of, like, dividend that he's paying out to token holders with it? Like, or did he just straight up saying, "Oh no, like I'm keeping this," and basically covering some of my losses from the past couple of years?
I don't fucking know. People are calling him a rugger, but he's like, no, you fucking idiot. It's locked up and it's earning rewards. Like, I don't know. Don't really follow it because I'm not dumb enough to buy a meme coin that he launches. No shade on
But the
anybody who
thing that you
did,
were smart
but
enough was he not like the giga top indicator right now for honestly like the market as a whole? And that's one of the things that, like, looking back on, again, when Machi, like, you said it, whenever Machi joined Friendtech, that was the Pico top of Friendtech. Like, Friendtech was down only up until recently whenever Machi joined it, right? So, like, that's one of those type things in retrospect that you look at and you're like, okay, maybe there's something like actionable with that type of thing going forward. But I mean, one way or the other, dude, like, again, I'm sitting here, I'm watching charts nuke live while we're talking. And again, I really don't, like, honestly, I'm looking at some of these charts, like I'm looking at Pepe, and I'm like, damn, Pepe looks ready to nuke like 30-40%. Right? Like, just being absolutely honest. Looking at some of these others, I'm like, man, I could see just a good capitulation wick right now across a lot of names. And I actually think it's healthy, right? Like, I am perfectly fine with it happening. So it's one of those things where it does present a lot of opportunity. Um, and you just chill, man. Like, it's part of what happens during these cycles, right? Like, we had a nice long stretch of just up across the board.
you know what's it's a crazy nightmare. We actually never even left last cycle. This has just been an all crazy double top. And now we're about to go into a 3, 4, 5 year bear market period.
Yeah, the FTX thing just completely messed with the entire cyclical nature of everything. And this was a double top. And the real bull market's going to start when the bear market was supposed to start in 2026.
But BlackRock.
Nah, see, because that got crossed out because of the eclipse that just happened. You got to find your signals here, man.
Well, the eclipse was also, like, if we could have just had during the eclipse, the entire market was bullish. It wasn't until the eclipse ended. So there was something about the gravitational shift. Like, I wish Marin were still around to just give us this alpha, because I mean, if Marin were around, we would have known.
And Antonio Brown tweeting this week as well. Another
Wait, did
top
he?
signal. Yep. That's
Shit,
more
I
top
missed
signals.
that. I
We're
mean,
ignoring.
honestly, at this point, let's just nuke it.
Fucking
Everything's
send
going
it
to
to zero,
zero.
dude.
We may as
Buy
well quit
silver.
crypto, right?
Yeah, buy silver. This is what it's all been about the entire time.
Dude, you know what was actually crazy? So my neighbor the other day, um, like, they were cool. It was the one I told you nearly burned her house down.
Oh, so
So,
you just happen to cross paths again, huh?
I mean, she's my neighbor. So, like, Wednesdays, a lot of the time, I end up just walking over to a bar that's nearby, because one of my buddies, he hosts a Bible study, like, for his church group, whatever. So I'm just like, all right, I'll get out of the house for a little bit while y'all do that. I've got my own that I go to, and like, end up texting that girl and her roommates, and her and her roommate are able to come join. And bro, I found out the funniest thing. Like, she was telling me that she was a big like pancake swap degenerate. She's a software engineer. And she was huge into pancake swap like the last cycle, trading a bunch of the meme coins on it. She has a bag of Bowden. Um, she was telling me that she has a bag of Bowden, some other stuff. Like, I just started going down the list. I'm like, holy shit! Like, she's actually a little bit of a degenerate. This is kind of cool.
And she's cute too, right?
I mean, she was. So, I mean,
She
yeah, like
was.
She was or is?
Oh, she is. Yeah, she was until she told me she had a bag of Bowden. Oh, dude, I'm watching. Dude, this is beautiful. The bags are nuking right now.
What are we buying?
Well, I'm waiting for a little bit lower, but shit, that's badass. Okay, I won't lie. I hedged earlier this morning with like a big Pepe short, and it's freaking nuking. I love to see it. I'm okay, boys. You know, that's what you do. You hedge your spot bags that you were chilling in with some shorts whenever the market looks as rough as it does. And it helps a little bit as you see things go down. But now that I said that, it's probably going to like turbo run it back up. I need to just probably, since I'm sitting here, I have not necessarily like showed a screenshot, but I'm looking at it and I'm having that type of reaction. I need to close some of this immediately. It's just that simple.
Would you do 50x?
Oh, dude, don't. It's. Let's see. No, not at all. But, all right, just secured a little bit right there, and I'm feeling better. Nice.
All right. My drinks are on Kaleo.
What's that? I mean, it still probably doesn't cover everything right now else, but it's all good. It's all good. Got to take the little wins as you can.
Did you tell your new love interest who you are? That you're a celebrity of sorts?
Dude, hey, a neighbor that's too dangerous, man. You don't have a neighbor as a love interest. They're just lines that you draw, and I feel like that's one of them, right? Like, that is clear.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
okay. So, well, no, heck no. Like, not one bit. Can't tell people that.
Hey, so when are we doing the Stonks Telegram so we can just sunset this Discord and run it back up again on Telegram?
Should we just start with like, small group right now and do a beta version of it?
Yeah, because I've seen
Like,
some
I
posts.
can.
People were
Hey,
like,
how about this, Rooster? During next weekend in Tampa, like help set this up.
all right,
How about that? Easy.
all right, now I can write this trip off as a business expense.
Yes, legitimately. So yeah, next weekend in Tampa, we'll get the beta of that up and going. And I just got a text from Hondo. Like, he said, I would love to kick Discord. They're pissing me off so much.
Yeah, maybe we should just like halt all talking in there because there's people who are like on Twitter this week. They're like, "Can someone point me in the direction of like the official Stonks Discord?" And I was like, "Don't click on any links."
Yeah.
One, two, it's probably going to be sunset, so don't worry about that. In the meantime, there's a Twitter chat, and we'll be opening up on Telegram.
Now, that's the right response right now, honestly. Like, it's one of those things I think that, it's also just disappointing to me that I think some of the security measures that sites like OpenSea and Blur put in place, where you're once you have some of these links that are set up, I think that they initially made it difficult to change, where they're imported from the website to these different, platforms. And then once it's on there, it's just on there. Like, they still have not allowed, even whenever we upgrade some of these links or update some of these links on the actual site, like, they just don't import the new links. So I'm not sure if it's a security feature or what, because you can't edit them on the actual exchange sites themselves. And I think that it's a real flaw in their system as well. So it's one of those things. I don't know, man. I've just learned it's freaking frustrating as hell, because one way or the other, it's like, even if we do completely sunset the Discord, until they allow us, until either A, Discord shuts that down, or B, these different sites allow us to completely like nix those links and update them, they still have that out there, and it's bullshit.
Yeah, maybe just update like the description. Like, don't click on the links on these pages.
Yeah.
On the landing page. But speaking of things that's irritating the shit out of me, fucking Wormhole got delayed again for Mad Lads holders. So we're not. It's gonna be 0 by the time RIP the 40K airdrop when it was announced.
Wait, how and why? Why didn't y'all get them initially with everybody else?
Good question, dude. Good fucking question. I don't know. For some reason, they're blaming it on Solana being congested. As the reason why, like, the contract for the NFT allocations like can't be like claimable, or there's issues getting it out or whatever. Yeah, it was supposed to come launch day. We didn't find out until like 6 hours before launch. You're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're not going to get your allocation until next Wednesday. Well, I wake up, on Wednesday, ready to claim, and then they were like, oh, by the way, you're actually not going to get it until next Wednesday. And then I think it's down over 70% since it opened. And so, yeah, RIP to 30K of that airdrop.
Shoot, dude, I just looked at the Wormhole chart as well.
Turbo bearish.
Like, hey, you might actually, Rooster, it might be one of those things where, because you're forced to diamond hand it at this point, like, because you can't do anything with it, maybe it's at the point where the market's running it back, and
maybe
you catch it back, right?
I hope
like,
it bottoms, but like, what the fuck are you going to use a Wormhole token for? I don't even use a fucking platform.
Well, you use a Wormhole you use the Wormhole token to sell it.
Exactly.
Like,
that's
like that was the best use case that I thought of whenever they were doing the airdrop.
I know my airdrop that I don't even has yet hasn't
Because,
even
like,
unlocked
Wormhole's
its
not
liquidity.
memeable, right? Like,
no, there was a meme token made on launch day that ran up to like 10 billion or something, called Wormhole, like warm, like something's warm.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny, but that's about it.
Hey, the funnier thing, Wormhole probably, if they would have launched like their token as a meme instead of as a utility, it probably would have done better.
Yeah. Also, if they launched it,
if we're being honest, it probably, rather than being whatever it is, I'm not sure if it's a governance token or whatever else, like, it probably would have performed better in the long run.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck it means. It also would have performed better, had they not launched it 3 months after their first initial announcement. Because then at that point, for one, people don't really care anymore. They've been waiting so long. Now they're just ready to cheat. 2, like, that was the cusp of Solana meme season, like right at the breakout. Like, they should have launched this shit at the end of January when they announced it, when they had all the hype and all the momentum. Waited 3 months, released nothing, for me anyways. And yeah, now Wormhole to 0, but hopefully exit bounce so I can dump before.
VGF, welcome up to the stage, man. What's going on?
Yo, been an interesting morning. I've been out of the loop. What was the thing with the Discord and OpenSea?
Okay, So there was a shitstorm with the Discord recently. Thankfully, nobody was affected by it. But basically, what happened was we had one. It was something that, like, pure lapse by us, where the Discord, apparently, if you have to have a minimum of 10 boosts to be able to maintain a, like, designated URL, the link,
legacy
right?
link, yeah.
So we had one boost that dropped off, and during that, like, little window when it went from 10 to 9, somebody ended up hijacking the link and claiming it. So, it's been one of those things where it's been
Gotcha.
months where we have been going back and forth with Discord, and they really just have been basically unresponsive as far as trying to help get that back and shut down the scam, whatever that's with it. And because that link was integrated into our website initially, whenever we updated the pages for the Blur and OpenSea pages, like, that was the link for Discord that is saved for them, and that neither of them have the option for us to be able to update that link. So it is right now. If you go to the Discord link on either Blur or OpenSea for Wonky Stonks, it leads to this scam page, and it is absolutely unacceptable that it's one of those things that, like, it just has not, like, we've been spinning our wheels across the board with all three outlets.
At least for OpenSea, I got a contact for you. I'll
Do
DM
you? That would be incredible.
Yeah, I was worried that, like, the Discord was compromised or something in a different way, but yeah, I've definitely seen that before. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that, but at least for OpenSea, I'm probably have somebody you can reach out to.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, man. That would be incredibly helpful.
Nothing burger, anyways, because no one's ever buying any ETH NFTs ever again.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, man. You just wait. Like, the ETH NFTs are going to eventually have their day. I still am crazy, maybe, when I say it, but, like, I actually am a believer. There's going to be a revival for ETH eventually, as much as people shit on it. Like, it happens every cycle. You were going, like, even last cycle, so many people shit on ETH going into it. And granted, like, had the most liquidity, the best infrastructure, and everything else surrounding it going into the last cycle. So a little bit of a different setup, where this time, you've got much more mature ecosystems existing outside of it. But it's still, like, I'm not even going to get into the entire, like, full depth. There are a lot of pros right now, I think, for ETH still going for it, as far as being able to have some of that type of stuff come back to it eventually. So, even if nothing else, when you look at the whole argument as far as the ETF and everything that's happening most likely later this year surrounding that, like, I think we're going to get another ETH season as that pops up. So I don't know. We'll see, man. I mean, it definitely it's funny to joke about it in the meantime, because it's all you really can do, but like, it's gonna eventually happen.
Nah, man. Like, but why? Why would someone even buy an ETH NFT right now? Like, no projects are actually even doing anything. I remember saying I'd buy an ape at 10 ETH if they ever got there. I'm looking at them right now, sub 12, and I wouldn't buy an ape at 5 ETH at this point.
Can I play devil's advocate and stickler here?
Yes.
Okay, so I agree that there are many ETH. I think there are a lot of people bag holding ETH NFTs, thinking that ETH NFT season will come back, that will never come back. That, like, are just less than zeros. It'll cost you money to get rid of them. But I do think that there is, like, whether or not the ETH NFT season coming back is reflective of anything happening to your bags might be an entirely different conversation. Like for sake of argument, X copy just had a sale of one of one for 250 ETH. Like there is definitely still appetite and opportunity around. Whether or not your bags are included in that,
That's
TBD.
just whales jerking each other off for optics of looking like there's liquidity.
You can hold that opinion. That's fine. I largely disagree. I think that there is a appetite and opportunity for especially like premier one of one art. I think that largely the utility NFTs or membership NFTs, whatever, like group those all under together. Um, will largely rotate to L2s and or leveraging layer 0 for utility and application layers on L2s rather than ETH mainnet. So like even if the ETH mainnet assets may still live there, uh, the subsequent application or utility will be on, call it Arbitrum or Optimism, whatever base. So I do think that ETH NFT season does come back, but I don't think it necessarily looks the same way as it did last cycle. And there's like pros and cons that come with that, in that uh, it may not be the same projects that popped off last cycle that get a revival. I think that there's going to be a lot of new things that come up, leveraging a lot of the new tech that see their time in the sun. But those outliers that have held on this long, that have proven, longevity in some sense, there will be those, outliers that go on epic runs again.
You make a really good point about layer 0. Can you point me in a direction of like, are there any projects that have utilized layer 0 to maybe foresee this happening? Because I'd probably bid right now.
Are you giving me an opportunity to plug? Because we have.
I'm just wondering if like there are any projects that have used like layer 0 to launch, so that they could maybe potentially have foreseen this, which chain is going to be the chain for trading NFTs on. Who knows, right?
Well,
I'm
and
just wondering
layer
if
0 can be
anybody's done
used.
that yet.
Layer 0 can be used for many things, not just moving the assets, but leveraging the assets on one network on a different network. So like for your first question, I would say Kanpai Pandas, Ghostly Ghosts are like the two that stick out in my mind. The second part of that, layer 0 enables you to, like, so the way that we leverage it, we being Pixel Vault with MetaHeroes for our, we have ETH mainnet assets for our PFP collection, but we leverage layer 0 to enable utility on Arbitrum. So the ETH mainnet assets stay on mainnet, but we're able to leverage their ownership and the utility and application layer on Arbitrum via layer 0. So the asset itself doesn't move, but the application and utility that you get lives on Arbitrum.
You just gave me a great idea for a derivative. All right, this is what I'm about to do with the stonks. There's going to be a contract, right? It's going to be through layer 0. You can choose which chain, obviously any of them that you want to port it to. You send the Wonky Stonk, it effectively burns the stonk, and then I pretty much just copy the exact code, and then it re-rolls the derivative on another chain. Boom. Coming soon. Pytho, get in my DMs.
I appreciate you coming up and sharing that, VGF. Like, that's the thing, man. I do agree with what you said. One of the things really clearly, like, it's not going to look the exact same, right? And it won't be the exact same names either. Like, that is something that I'm really, really confident of. You're going to have, I mean, even names like Apes with Yuga. I think it's going to be really difficult for them at this point, with how suppressed they are, to be able to maintain the same type of market share and the same type of lead that they ever had in the past. Like, that's really difficult when you give that up to this extent, to be able to reclaim that. Right. And it's not to say that, like, whenever there is an ETH NFT season, that Apes won't do well, because they will, right? Like, they still have enough of a loyal user base and enough of a brand value that they're going to make some type of comeback, some type of bounce from wherever they bottom out. But, like, as far as being the premier blue chip NFT again, I don't know, man. I think that whenever you kind of have, to this extent, allowed another name like Pudgy Penguins to come up and usurp the floor price the way that they have throughout the past several months, or, honestly, the past year, right? Like, it's really difficult to reclaim that same type of just die hard loyalty. Like, what is going to be the thing that revives it? So, whether it is a different type of, whether it's different projects that we've seen before, or it is brand new projects with new integrations, and new applications completely, right? Like, I think we are going to see something. But again, previous performance does not dictate, in this case especially, future performance.
Breaking
Definitely.
news: Apes just flipped Pudgy Penguins again.
It's interesting because, like, I look back, I mean, some disclosure here. We had some pretty phenomenal success and in the fervor and craziness that was 21, but, like, something that we've been looking at kind of ourselves, especially with some of these new projects coming up and popping off, is some of this, like, survivorship bias, or, like, some of these projects from 21, 22 that may have had their run and have done well to survive, just survive. um there's, like, the negative connotation of bag bias that comes, or, like, this execution debt that comes with being a legacy project, or being a project that's been around for a minute, that doesn't necessarily allow it to run in the same way as a project that, like, no expectation, no promise, no utility, can run to infinity until you attach that utility aspect to it. Like, once people know what to expect, then that puts, like, a ceiling on it. Whereas it's like the fucking Family Guy meme. Like, do you want this boat or do you want what's in the box? Because anything could be in the box, even a boat. Like, but as soon as you attach that kind of, like, ceiling to it of what people can expect, then it's no longer Moon. Um, and it's a very interesting kind of dichotomy of where, like, everyone's almost expected to deliver something, but as soon as they give the expectation or promise of what that thing may be, uh, it's no longer uncapped.
Well, I was going to say, except for in the case of something like a token, where you're talking about.
Even with a token.
I was about to make a joke and a jab at Rooster for not getting his wormhole airdrop.
But even with tokens, like, we've seen memes outperform anything with
that was going to be
utility.
my point, BGF. That was
Yeah.
going to be my point. Where what I brought up earlier, it was a half joke about wormhole. If had they dropped, like, a wormhole meme versus a utility, some type of governance token, like, they probably would have outperformed, right? Like, yeah. No, we had this whole thing back in the day where I had a segment for several months. Yeah. No, we had this whole thing back in the day where I had a segment for several months was is GST or GMT, whatever it is, like, is it zero yet? Um, Rooster would come on here and talk up his stepping bags, and I'm like, bro, like the way that Ponzi works, it is heading straight to zero so freaking fast. It's not even funny. And he's
Oh,
like, no.
don't forget to tell how you influence or pump and dumped or dump and pump, whatever you want to call it. Send my bags to zero, then bought the bottom and proceeded to 1000x plus it. So yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So shit happens. BTC Art, welcome to the stage, man. What's going on?
Love and light. Good to hear you guys. All is well here. Down market. Who cares? No chill is a great opportunity to buy. Dino Dicks. Someone just floored their whole bag. So if someone wants to snatch that up, have at it. It's it's just a
Sorry,
fun.
times are tough.
It's a fun day. Yeah, it's okay, Rooster. Isn't it? You'll buy back higher. I'm not worried. So stonks are at all-time like best purchasing opportunity. I've seen some beautiful ones. I was just looking through them. People just don't even understand how inevitable they are. And I don't know how long it's going to take. You can't convince some people. They just want to miss out on Jenny Wealth, you know?
Like I agree, man. I think it's one of those things again where, like I'm crazy enough where I'm like one way or the other, like I've got conviction and I will until the day I'm like, as long as my account's on here, I have conviction and past that. Like I don't have any plans ever of like sunsetting. I did this as a hobby. I do this as like from here on out. I do it because I enjoy it. And like the stonks will survive. Like that's why they're inevitable. Um, I don't know, man. I
The key
enjoy the
is
vibes of the turmoil whenever you see things right now. Again, when I'm just looking at the screens and I see red candles left and right, because like again, it's these high conviction times, or it is the rough times like this where looking back on it, having high conviction, it's fun in the rear view mirror. Like it's not necessarily one of those things that at the moment it's always the easiest, but like it really does provide a lot of opportunity. And like I think that it's one of those things where if you trust the market and you trust where we're heading, and just the halving cycle in general and a lot of the different bullish catalysts that are surrounding that, like I think that there is a lot of upside still to be had over the course of the next couple of years. Like I'm still a believer in where that is, and like it is what it is, right? In the meantime, everything else just kind of becomes noise.
when the
Yeah.
charts are the way they are, like today on TradingView, one of the main utilities for stonks for me is I'll just go up on the OpenSea Blur and I'll pull up stonk number 1575, and then I'll just decide to look at that chart instead of the TradingView charts, and I simply just choose rich and prints a 500% candle, and I'll look at that chart all day on red days.
There's just too many beautiful opportunities right now, and people are sitting around scared. And it breaks your heart for them, you know? You just pray for them, send them love and light, but there's just a lot of paper hands out there, and it happens. And yeah, some people are just not going to make it, and that's okay. That's okay. We love them too.
Well, it's interesting for me because like when people say like, "Oh, will this time be different?" I'm looking at the halving potential, the election cycle, the ETF inflows. Like there are so many individual catalysts that are aligning that like regardless of short-term price action, like Kaleo was highlighting, the choppiness of the market in general right now, especially leading up to the halving. Looking at, mid to long term or over, call it the course of the next 12, 18, 24 months, I can't be anything but, cautiously optimistic, if not like very optimistic. So I don't know. Maybe that's my Delulu, delusion
No,
talking
no,
to
no, no.
me. But
I think it's good. Everybody's got to have their boundaries, you know? I mean, you got to set up some strong things so that you don't get delusional. I mean, if you take a girl to a party and she ends up in a K-hole, you dump her right there. But if you've got a really beautiful woman that actually understands how degenerate you are and wants to cook you dinner, but you're not gonna even like hold hands with her because she's your neighbor. This is the kind of conviction people need to become a Kaleo. Like you,
Or
you
if
have
you
to
got,
have these boundaries set hard so that you can win at life and crypto.
or if you have a cleaning lady, you have to take her out for a beer, right?
It happens.
that was a phenomenal journey that you just took us on.
Well, it was mostly about conviction, and I think drawing hard lines and knowing how to diamond hand something and to keep the love and keep the light alive. You just have to know there's red candles and green candles, and all will be well.
So Kaleo, I have a question for you because I know you've been largely playing in like the AVAX shitcoin side of the pond. Curious your thoughts on Arbitrum meme coins, because
Bro, the only one I'm
historically,
familiar with is AI Doge on Arbitrum. Like outside of that, I really haven't gotten into the Arbitrum, meme coins whatsoever.
well, because I think you're not alone in that, which is interesting to me because Arbitrum does have a ridiculous amount of liquidity, a lot like TVL off the charts, a lot of these like things aligning for there to be a successful meme coin pop off over there, but we haven't particularly seen it yet. And the reason I ask is because a few weeks ago there was the announcement of the Robinhood app integration with Arbitrum, and there was a sizable run up on a couple of those, the tokens that were listed there. But either it has barely even gotten started, like early innings type stuff, or it's a complete non-starter and it's going to inevitably go to zero.
Bro,
I haven't decided which side of that equation I'm on yet, but feels like opportunity either way.
I'm not to say that there isn't. I think the reason why I haven't paid as much opportunity, or not as much opportunity, as much attention to it, is just that I think that when you look at like meme coins and anything else, right, we live in an attention based economy where, what is the bullish catalyst for it really popping up? Like with Soul, I mean, outside of just the ease of use, you had like a robust NFT economy that was already there. You had a lot of, OGs that were already familiar and onboarded to the network via that from the last bull market, to where it made it really easy whenever this time came around to be able to, bridge back over and continue to use a bunch of that infrastructure that was already built out, that they were already used to. Right. Same thing with ETH, obviously, like, I don't even think we need to dive into that, but BTC, again, looking at Bitcoin with their NFT side of things with ordinals this cycle, right? Like it's brought a lot of attention just to some of, like, I think the more degenerate side of the chain. And we've seen not quite as much as what I would expect from the meme coins on there. But I mean, like even recently looking at pups, you had some of the others run ups that were relatively quiet, even though they ran up to pretty high market caps with like Sats, Rats, some of the others. And AVAX, what I'm really bullish on there, like, and why I've considered it such a good opportunity in the long run is, like, I really am bullish on the SoFi side of things with what they're building there with the arena. I really think that they have a solid team and a solid product. I'm bullish on more retail coming back into this space. SoFi having a revival, which may sound crazy, but I really think that, like, SoFi is going to be a big part of this cycle coming up. And having that type of an app to be able to just be both a native, potentially almost an L1 in a sense, depending on how the arena token launch goes. But also just like a native place where people are already on chain. You've got these people bridged over, the potential users that then can go, like, that I think is a good narrative that I still believe is pretty early as far as like the adoption and the growth curve there. That's why, like, even with this dip right now, like, I don't really have any any concerns from a higher time frame point of view, because like, I'm looking at TVL climb up in a place like the arena where and I'm looking at the gap between it and Friendtech, and I'm like, man, there's still a lot of growth there. And I think a lot of natural rotation that'll happen back into it as some of these different catalysts get unlocked, like, throughout the year. So with Arbitrum, and like, I don't know. I just haven't seen what is that thing to be able to bring the social attention to the chain. And, like, maybe it is just through word of mouth about the the Robinhood integration, and maybe that in itself just brings enough attention where it's like, oh shit, we need to jump on this. But, like, outside of that, I mean, it sounds like you are pretty plugged into that right now. Like, what do you see as the potential catalyst to really get that retail? What is the killer DApp that they have to really onboard and bring people over?
Well, that's the thing, is I haven't. It's kind of more of a curiosity that came across, like, my timeline when I saw that, like, Robinhood integration. I did have, like, a little spot bag of Boop when, like, that got that integration, which is like what kind of brought it back to the forefront of my attention. Was I had a very, very small bag that was all of a sudden a little less small. But I'm not sure of the answer to that, and that's why I was kind of posing the question. Was I don't know that Robinhood app by itself is enough to send it there. But it was enough for me to raise the question.
Well, I look at that as like a dormant catalyst, right? Where it's something that, once they have that initial spark, could be something that accelerates the growth and gives a lot more potential when it's there. But, I think that for the chain to really have that rotation, it needs that killer DApp to really be able to, onboard users. No, man, I mean, like, a bunch of interesting questions. And I think that, like, the cool part about this cycle is going to be just continued growth in a bunch of these L1s and L2s that, we've started to see so far. But I really think a lot of them are still early and still are going to continue to build out into much larger ecosystems than what they currently are. There's just so much opportunity on the fringes. And yeah, man, like, dips like what we're seeing right now, they happen, right? Like, we've seen worse, we've survived worse. We're going to survive worse again. And really all you can do, man, is just kind of like sit back, relax, and, look for opportunities that are there, and be patient, because, like, the market's going to bounce back, and, like, it will inevitably continue to send higher. It's just one of those things that, like, it's part of the game. So, with that, like, unless, Rooster, you got any other topics you want to talk through?
I mean, you know me, I could go all day. Now I'm down to close it out, and I'm also down to spin up another space next week or in a few days. I mean, or tomorrow.
Dude, just hey, you know, shoot me a message on Telegram anytime you want to do it, and you know, I'm open to it. So
For sure.
appreciate y'all joining. Hope everybody enjoys this beautiful Friday and their weekends. And you know, I guess next week, bro, we'll be doing this from Tampa.
Let's
Yes,
go.
sir.
All right,
On a
y'all.
yacht.
What are
On all
what
the
are
yachts.
stonks? Are stonks are inevitable. Let's go. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Dang. RIP for Crow's speech impediment. Later, y'all.